Okay, part 11 of my diary. So last time I left off with my anger leaving me and being replaced with pity, and how, as much as I was trying to live with the mindset of not ever seeing CJ ever again, I still did have to see him again, because since February, I started to notice that I started to suspect that I had an STD because I had an abnormal growth, and at first I thought it was just a skin tag or something like that, but it kept growing, so I started to suspect that I had HPV, which is another name for genital warts. And so when you look stuff like that up on the internet, it stresses you out way more than it should. Like, it made it sound like, oh, I can never have kids again, or you'll never find somebody, kind of a thing. I think a lot of people despair over it. Lesson learned, just don't look stuff up on the internet. That's stuff that I used to tell my patients all the time, because they either get all kinds of false information, or they get presented with the absolute worst case scenario, and it's like, sure, maybe 1% of patients with this condition will end up with the worst case scenario. So it's like, people get way concerned over things that they don't really need to be concerned about, and then they don't want to listen to their doctor when the doctor tells them it's nothing to worry about. But anyways, so yeah, after I went to the doctor, I had some of my fears relieved about some of that stuff, but it does kind of bother me, because I feel like it's going to be harder to find somebody now, and I have a hard enough time connecting with people as it is, and I don't find people that I want to pursue very often, and now I just have something else that's gonna hinder that. I mean, I think there's a possibility that one day I'll find somebody who I can tell about my HPV, and they'll accept it and work with me around it. But I think it's going to be a while before I am able to find somebody like that. And I mean, you can get rid of the warts, so but the virus still lives in the skin, so you can still pass it to people even if you don't have any signs or symptoms of it. And there's no cure for it. Though some people can clear it from their system, and the doctors don't really know why or how. Some people do and some people don't. So I, at first, kind of held on to a hope that, I'd be one of those people who can clear it from my system. But with the depression and the fact that my body can't even handle healing a bruise right now, I very much doubt that I'll be able to pass the virus out from my system. But I don't know, maybe my doubt will be self-fulfilling, and I probably shouldn't think like that, but anyways, so I held off telling CJ about it for a little while, because I was in St. Louis for a week, and and then the next weekend was my graduation, and I think I told him the week after, or maybe it was the week after that, I don't remember. And part of the reason too is because it wasn't going to be easy for me to get in contact with CJ, because Even though I had his phone number memorized, he wouldn't answer a call, and I couldn't guarantee that he would read a text, and I wasn't going to go by the house. So the only option left for me was either to drag someone else into it and tell them about it to tell him, or to basically bombard him after work one day. And I didn't trust anybody because the last night that Tanner and I hung out, I had deleted CJ's number that night on the condition that Tanner would give a letter to CJ that was intended to be my last words to him. And then after Tanner got mad at me, he went back on his word even though he promised. And he never gave CJ the letter, so I wasn't going to trust anybody with passing anything on to CJ, so I bombarded him after work one day, and I never felt like so much of a crazy girl. I don't know, I felt like I was taking responsibility to an extreme. To sit there and wait for someone to get off work, and when I felt like they didn't want me to be there. But anyway, so, yeah, that night after, so I waited for CJ after work, and he came out, and I think he was surprised to see me, but he wasn't angry, like I thought he would be. And I told him I have something I need to talk to you about. So we went over, and he told me congratulations for graduating and how he was happy for me and proud of me. And I don't know. It was hard to stay mad at him for everything. But anyways, so I told him about the HPV, and I also told him that he was the one that gave it to me, which meant that either Michelle had cheated on him, which I found unlikely, or he had slept with someone other than me and her. And he has a terrible memory, especially with the fact that he gets drunk a lot. So at first he didn't understand how that could have happened. And he said the only reason that he was going with what I said was because he noticed, changes on his skin, a while back, and, he thought they were skin tags or whatever, and, Michelle had told him, oh, it's probably nothing. And I think CJ felt bad because, he thought about going to the doctor to get checked out, and he just never did, and now he's affected the lives of several other people because he didn't bother to go to the doctor. And at some point he remembered, like, oh crap, there was this one time that I got drunk and I slept with someone. It took him forever to remember it. So yeah. And I think he felt terrible. He felt terrible for having done, for, I guess, giving me the HPV. When I had kind of been preparing myself to see CJ that night, I told myself that if he apologized, I was going to tell him that his apologies didn't mean anything, because he didn't bother to apologize to me on his own, and the fact that he was gonna apologize to me only for the fact that I was standing in front of him, you know. But I never told him any of it. I think because I get too wrapped up in what other people are feeling. You know, and I don't, when people show obvious signs of distress, and I mean, he was receiving kind of devastating news as well about, you know, if I had HPV and it came from him, then that meant that he had it. And honestly, I almost think that he was more upset over the fact that he had an STD than the fact that he gave it to everyone else. Because he told me that after the fallout, during the time that, well, I guess CJ and Michelle hadn't really gotten back together yet, but he was trying to work on it, and the thing was that he couldn't talk to me if he was, you know, that was the condition for him getting back together with Michelle, as he wasn't able to talk to me, you know, and he's like, you know, and I told him, I was like, that's, you know, I thought you hated me, and I thought you were angry with me, and he's like, I wasn't angry with you, and how could I hate you, but don't you understand, I'm trying to fix something, and I guess I was a little resentful over the fact that I was thrown away so that he can try to fix something that was irreparable, at least in my mind, though I guess they're still trying to work things out. I don't understand how Michelle can take him back after everything. But I guess I don't understand how I can be suffering so much because of someone when I have, you know, I see the flaws in him, and I recognize that his actions will never match his words, because he always falls, and he brings people down with him. But anyways, so even though I was there to share bad news with him, I think we enjoyed just being able to talk again and be in each other's company. Like I said, I can't stay angry at him, and honestly, I think it'd be easier if I could be angry with him. The book that I'm reading that my sister gave me, you know, it keeps talking about positivity, and I keep thinking, you know, if all the world was nothing but positivity, then nothing would ever connect. I think if everybody was positive on their own, then there would be no need for human interaction. And I think it's through our faults and through the negative things that happen to us that we can connect with other people on a different level. I think negativity has its role in life too. And I think it goes unappreciated sometimes. But anyways, so yeah, I gave CJ a ride home from work that night because it was cold out. And I offered it to him. I just remember feeling so empty. Like I didn't want to feel any emotion. And but at the same time, I think seeing him again and seeing him lose his hope to be able to get back with Michelle, because he said, you know, that's the last straw. She'll never take me back after I tell her about this. You know, and I was glad because I still think that Michelle needs to move on. I still think that CJ is no good for Michelle. And I don't want to see them back together again. It's not because I'm jealous, because I know I never wanted a relationship with CJ except for in the beginning. You know, by the time I had traveled and come back, I knew that a relationship would never work between us. So I never wanted a relationship. Like a boyfriend-girlfriend type relationship. I just wanted to be friends. But so it's not that I'm jealous that they would get back together, but I truly feel like it would not benefit either of them to get back together. But yeah, so I saw CJ's hope to get back with Michelle kind of go down the drain, and I was just seeing the fact that he wasn't angry with me and that he didn't hate me, I guess. And just talking with him made me miss him a lot. And so I think I have a terrible resolve. So a few days after I had seen him that day, I texted him and asked him if he wanted to hang out again. And so yeah. I really hope my next segment will be the last of my storytelling, because I feel like this is a really long story. So if anybody's managed to stick through this whole thing, kudos to you. So yeah, next time I guess I'm going to talk about his response to my invite, and then just kind of the course of my depression up until now. So yeah, see you next time.